People think fear announces itself. Panic, screaming, chaos. This wasn't that. This patient didn't say she was afraid. She said something else had happened. She said her soul had left her body, and the terrifying part wasn't that she believed it. It was that everything in her body began behaving as if it were true. This is the Differential Series, Episode 2, Susto, when the soul doesn't come back. The patient was a 28-year-old Latina woman brought in by her family for progressive weight loss, insomnia, fatigue, and diffuse body pain following a minor motor vehicle accident. No head injury, no loss of consciousness. The collision barely bent the bumper. The workup was normal. Blood counts, electrolytes, thyroid, autoimmune markers, imaging, unremarkable. When I asked her what she thought was wrong, she said, El Susto. She explained it carefully, the way people do when they've already been dismissed once. She said the fright knocked her soul loose, that it left her body at the moment of impact, that it hadn't found its way back. Her mother nodded. Her aunt corrected her phrasing. They weren't distressed. They were concerned, but organized. In residency, we're taught to translate, to take a patient's language and render it legible to medicine. Soul loss becomes somatic symptom disorder. Fear becomes trauma. Fatigue becomes depression. Translation is supposed to be an act of respect, but sometimes it's an act of erasure. I documented the diagnosis as a cultural idiom of distress associated with trauma. That was accurate. It was also incomplete. Over the next several days, her condition worsened. She slept less than 2 hours a night. Her appetite disappeared. Her pulse ran high. Her body moved like it was conserving something it no longer had. She stopped making eye contact, not out of fear, but courtesy, as if looking directly at people risked misplacing something else. When staff entered the room, her eyes tracked them first. Then her head followed, slowly, like she was lagging behind herself. On exam, there was nothing focal. No neurological deficits, no psychosis, no delusions, if you were strict about definitions. She wasn't confused. She was dislocated. When I asked where her soul was, she said it wandered. Sometimes near the ceiling, watching. Sometimes following other people home by mistake. Sometimes getting lost. She said it was tired. I asked why it didn't come back. She said, it doesn't know when it's allowed. I asked who decided that. She looked at the door before answering. There was a silence that felt like an eternity. A curandera was brought in at the family's request. I hesitated, then agreed. There are moments in medicine where saying no feels like competence. This wasn't one of them. I told myself I was honoring culture. What I was really doing was admitting I was out of language. The ceremony was quiet. No chanting, no spectacle, just prayers, smoke, and intention. That night, the patient slept. The next morning, her vitals stabilized. She smiled for the first time since admission. She said she felt lighter. Clinically, it was improvement. Unfortunately, 2 days later, she crashed. Her pain returned with intensity. She vomited repeatedly. Her heart rate spiked. She began sobbing, not emotionally, but physically, like a reflex. When I asked what changed, she said someone had told her the soul wasn't real. She didn't say who. She said it heard them. I hadn't said anything yet. I tried reframing, grounding, psychoeducation, trauma responses, dissociation, the mind-body connection. Each explanation made her worse. Her family stopped asking questions. They stopped correcting her language. They watched me instead, not accusing, measuring. The curandera returned without my knowledge. The second ceremony didn't go as planned. The room felt smaller. The patient's breathing changed, shallow, rapid, wrong. She cried out, saying her soul was close, but afraid, that it didn't recognize her body anymore. She asked if bodies could reject souls the way organs reject transplants. I didn't answer. Then she asked me if I believed in souls. It was the first time she looked directly at me, not pleading, not testing, assessing. I told her belief wasn't required for healing. She said that might be the problem. After that, she stopped improving. Her labs remained normal. Her scans stayed clean. But her body continued to fail, slowly, deliberately, as if following instructions I couldn't hear. On the seventh night, she told me her soul had passed someone in the hallway. She said it recognized him. She said it recognized his fear. She described my childhood tent revival with unsettling accuracy. The heat, the folding chairs, hands pressing on heads, the sound of adults crying while children learned to stay still. I had never told her any of this. I stopped writing notes, not because I was afraid, because I didn't want a record of what came next. I asked how she knew. She said her soul had been there too. The next morning, she left against medical advice. Before she went, her aunt handed me a small object wrapped in cloth. She said it was meant to help call the soul home, if it ever wanted to return. I thanked her. After they left, I inspected the charm thoroughly with my eyes and then threw it away. That night, I dreamt I was standing in a room full of praying adults, unable to move, watching something small and frightened hover near the ceiling, unsure which body belonged to it. When I woke up, the object, the charm I had thrown away, was now on my desk. No staff admitted bringing it back. I told myself someone must have retrieved it from the trash. That explanation should have been enough. But it wasn't. Since that case, I've noticed how carefully some patients speak when they talk about losing parts of themselves. Not metaphorically, logistically. As if identity isn't singular, but least. Psychiatry is very good at naming what breaks. It is less comfortable asking what leaves when something breaks. Some cultures call it soul loss. Others call it dissociation. I don't know which is correct. I only know what happened when she was told that hers wasn't real.